So this is the one I'm posting on Facebook. The new link. I do not know why it happened in YouTube like that. Okay. So let me continue on Facebook. Yes. So we are talking about we are talking about the COVID-19 effect. So definitely with our imports dependency more on China, it definitely has an impact on the supply chain. But then this is again an opportunity. Do we see this as a threat? Temporarily, momentarily, it could be a threat. But then it is also an opportunity for Indian startups, right, and Indian auto startups to grab this opportunity and start filling that gap, which might be created because of the absence of right the Chinese market. So I think that can happen. And what are the other things that can happen because of this COVID-19? Definitely, there will be strain on our supply chain raw materials from China because 25% of our auto components supply is from China, and in especially when you talk about EV, that 25% goes up to almost 45 to 50%. And definitely with the recent BS6 push from the government and a lot of BS4 inventory, right, being left with the auto OEMs, I think I see there is a deferment of at least a quarter or two from the government in highly imposing the BS6 norms on the companies. They will kind of give them some space, right, to liquidate or to kind of sell off the inventory stock that is left in their inventories and godowns. And all this adjustment, I think, will take at least 2 to 3 quarters to come in. But during this time, all the companies which are focused on to EVs and all the companies which are into this EV ecosystem, need not be perplexed or need not be confused, but rather can continue to focus on how they can add value and they can stimulate their existing capabilities, how they can improve on their capabilities, and then start building things. Unfortunately, the I do not know why the YouTube channel uh, uh, has stopped. But yeah, if you have now that I've completed what I wanted to communicate, we spoke about charging infrastructure. We spoke about different business models other than manufacturing. We also spoke about what Aban India is doing and how can you be part of one of the ecosystems there. And fourthly, we spoke about the possible effects of COVID-19. There will not be, the effect definitely would be there on auto industry, and it would definitely be there on EV. But then there is also an opportunity where now Ather is also looking at developing the local suppliers, local vendors, right? Similarly, every other auto OEM will start trying to develop their own local vendors, which is again act in favor of the Indian economy and the Indian market. So not to be worried much about it. Now it is for Q&A. Please type your questions on the Facebook comments, or if at all people were able to get the new YouTube link, then maybe you can put your comments on the new YouTube link. I've posted the new YouTube link on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Any specific questions? If there aren't much questions, then probably we will sign off shortly. I will wait for another 5-7 minutes for the Q&A to see if there are good questions, and then any question. There is no good or bad question. Any question, I'll be happy to answer. What is the support received by manufacturers of EV? Okay, so if you look at, see, the support that is received by the manufacturers of EV has already been jotted by the government as part of its FAMES 2.0 policy. I'm not able to project it again, but if you look at FAMES 2.0, I will just read it out. How these, as I said, 10,000 crores has been allocated for FAMES 2.0, of which 1,000 crores is allocated for charging infra and another 500 crores for administration and other purposes. Now, how is this 10,000, 8,500 crores is distributed among the different product portfolios? Close to 2,000 crores for two-wheelers industry, 2,500 crores for three-wheelers industry, around 530 crores for four-wheeler industry, and 3,600 crores for buses. Okay. Now, this is the fund that has been already allocated to these different product portfolios. And as per the battery size of it, the discounting goes as per the battery size of it. And for a two-wheeler, discounting can go as high as up to 20,000 rupees. And for an electric bus, it can go as high as up to 50 lakh rupees. And for a three-wheeler, it can for a three-wheeler 50,000, and for a four-wheeler 1.5 lakhs. Now, since this FAMES 2.0, Support 2.0 has already been rolled out, so the support that is required for the EV already exists. This is from demand incentives. Second thing, earlier, I mean, right now it is not the case, but earlier there was also intention by the government to reduce the imports for those electric vehicle components and bring it to the 5% slab of GST. But that is not being done for two reasons. If at all it is done, it is possible that again this complete industry will be dominated by Chinese players, and we will have less scope to develop. And second, if the GST slab is high for those imports, then it gives a breather to the local players to develop those technologies and products and to give. Correct. So the support which is already existing right now will kind of continue. There may not be any new support that would be coming to the manufacturers EVs because of COVID-19. If at all, a complete industry-wide package that comes, for example, for auto industry as a package, maybe we can consider that some of it can go to EV, but then there will not be any specific, or there may not be any specific support that would be rolled out for EVs as such, because whatever needs to be done has been done, and that fund is available. Abhilash, any question? Any other question, Manasa? I'm not sure if you have discussed about swapping stations already. Oh, great. That's a good question, Praveen. I will talk about it. What do you think is the way forward? Is it charging stations or swapping stations? That's a very, very, very good question, Praveen. In the beginning, as I said, when we categorize these products in terms of their portfolios, we start with two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and electric buses. Now, battery swapping as a technology is very much viable, possible, both in terms of technology and in terms of ergonomics in the two-wheelers, right? Because the battery sizes are small, either it would be 1.5 or 2 kilowatt or maximum packages, can be handled easily. They can be seated under the seat. I'm sure, I mean, you would have looked at multiple videos, different companies, products the companies are bringing. So if at all, you can watch videos from Sun Mobility, which is the earlier inventor of Mahindra Reva, as well as Ola Electric. They are also doing it. Now, Honda, as I said in the last session, Honda is working with one company very closely in Hyderabad in bringing the swapping charging technology. right? So it is like the shoe rack or an almara, where the almara acts as a charger. The batteries are always placed, so I can come with my two-wheeler, remove my empty battery, put into the slots of those charging unit, pick the fully charged battery and put it back. Battery swapping stations and battery swapping technology is the way going forward for two-wheelers, especially with B2B players coming into two-wheelers. For example, you look at Bounce, right? Earlier there is no concept of I can pick any vehicle from any place in the city, drive up to whatever I want, and then leave my vehicle there, and then the company takes care that this is connected to the next vehicle, right? Next person in need. So that's the business model of Bounce. And with players like Bounce that are coming in, and then the downtime is also very less. It is less than 2-3 minutes. You don't have to keep your vehicle and charge it, because you pick up a fully charged battery, replace that, and then you again insert your empty battery into the charging infra. So for swapping, two-wheelers is definitely viable, and that is going to be a successful model. Now it comes to three-wheelers. Now when it comes to three-wheelers, if the build of these three-wheelers is modular, they say, for example, for a two-wheeler, the battery requirement is say only 2 kWh, right? However, for a three-wheeler, probably the energy requirement is say 6 kWh. If the three-wheeler manufacturer or a platform is able to build a modular, that means instead of putting a 6 kWh Daba battery, I will build a modular where three such 2 kWh batteries can be accommodated into the three-wheelers, right? These are possible. There are companies who are going for fixed batteries in three-wheelers. There are also companies who are working on these. For example, Kinetic is one from Pune, which is working on the battery swapping technology. They're working very closely with Ola Electric, correct? So when the build is modular, then in such cases, again, Sun Mobility is also working very closely with Kinetic, the same OEM. They also have this. You can Google those videos, you can get them, right? So when the build of the three-wheelers is modular, that means the 6 kWh I get by a series combination of 2 plus 2 plus 2, then the swapping is possible. Otherwise, for three-wheelers, for a regular build, charging swapping may not be really possible. Now, when it comes to four-wheelers and buses, I think that is where the batteries are really heavy, 16 kWh. I'm not sure if the modular build is possible for four-wheeler cars and buses, and where now that then there would be requirement of say robotic arms, etc. and all. So for buses and cars, I do not see a great success of swapping technology in those product portfolios. But for two-wheelers and three-wheelers, definitely yes. That's a good question, Praveen. Thank you. Any other question? Career in EV field after BTech or MBA. Did government take any initiative in training or skilled employees in the field? That's a very good question. See, so far, most of the colleges have, there is not even a single right dedicated graduation course for electric vehicles, right? Mostly it is a auxiliary, right? Basis your regular engineering of automotive, or say for example mechanical, you can do a master's in automotive engineering, but there is no course called masters in electric vehicle engineering, right? Or but then courses like mechatronics will help you to a certain extent if at all you're considering masters, because this is where the mech electronics and the software come together. Secondly, right now there are individual I would say individual organizations or agencies which are developing modules, because how I know, because I'm also called in for some modules to give training upon, where they identify those specific areas that are required. Say for example you are into fuel cell technology, right? Then they will focus on the fuel cell technology. And if at all you're looking at let's say the for example the vehicle and the dynamics when the heavy batteries are inserted, right? In those cases, then you will be able to pick those particular cases and then join in. Now, did government take any initiative in training for skilled employees in this field? For skilled employees in this field at this point of time, no. But then government has released programs more for the right the blue collar employees, more from the driver's perspective, delivery boys perspective, and the technicians perspective, because the ask from companies like Flipkart, Amazon, Gati, etc. is high, and hence there are programs that are released. Now, whether it is do it yourself and Sync. See, Abhilash, I understood your point, but any course or any knowledge that you gain right now needs a right attestation. Just because I have done some kind of a course by do it yourself or from some Sync or something else, the industry may not have confidence, right, in identifying and in acknowledging the skills you have acquired or the knowledge that you have acquired. So while you do that, correct, but I encourage you to get a certification or attestation. Do certain, it is simple, do certain Google work, you'll get it. Who are those agencies that are giving it? Get enrolled into them and then get into it. The easiest way to get into this industry, if at all you are a fresher, right, is start considering the startups in and around you, because startups are also looking at the manpower who can contribute to them. And once you get into it, whether it is R&D or procurement or sales or marketing or production or whatever, right, you will get an exposure to all those fields, and then slowly you can grow along with the organization. Getting a right entry into the established OEMs and then the ability to be placed in EV industry in those OEMs is, I think, a little far fetched at this time. So I've answered Praveen's question, Manasa's question, and Abhilash's question. Any other questions? I will wait for another 2 minutes or 2 to 4 minutes for any other questions. But in the meanwhile, despite this technical glitch and abrupt disconnect of the content and the connection, but I'm very happy that you have stuck along and you have. Okay, there's a question from Palash: how to improve sales after COVID-19 crisis? Great, Palash. Um, Now, as I previously said, it depends upon what product you are talking about. Now, post COVID 19 crisis, again, I'm mentioning which is the easiest way to push your sales. Institutional sales, channel sales, B2B sales is the easiest way. Example: if you are a developer or a manufacturer of two-wheeler electric vehicle, you will find it tough to be able to sell this product to an end customer or an end user. But if you make your right proposition, your pitch rightly, probably players like Flipkart, players like Bounce, players like Amazon might be willing to invest into your two wheelers by buying them and deploying them in their two-wheeler deliveries. Similarly, if at all you are into three-wheeler electric, same is the case, right? So any B2B institutional sales, this is the strategy. Take your product to the aggregators, to the customers who are B2B players who are in need. When I said customers, aggregators, Avan India is one such aggregator. If you have a three-wheeler electric or a four-wheeler electric, you can write to me. We will work out how we can collaborate together and then build it, right? And there are many such aggregators like Avan India in the market. You can touch base with all of them. So all the e-commerce and all the e-tailers will have the requirement of two-wheelers and three-wheelers as well as four-wheelers to the tune of Tata Ace, right? So get in touch with these institutional players and prove your product. Talk about your durability, your endurance, your service capabilities, and the performance of your product, and you will have value and you can improve your sales. But do not try for a B2C at this point of time, because already with the lot of cash crunch, the customers are going to be very, very conservative even on their regular spends. And now, if for them to consider spending on a product or technology which they haven't experienced earlier, it becomes even trickier for them. So right now the strategy is complete focus on B2B, not on B2C. That's a good question. I have seen almost 10 electric buses being transported to Pune from Hyderabad near my college on Mumbai Highway to be used as their public transport. Charging stations are also set up at multiple major bus stops on the highways for smooth transport. But likewise in Telangana, we can see electric buses only for commute to airport. What is the future scenario of public transport of Telangana or India as such? That's a very good question, Manasa. So this was, I think, in the year 2017, right? Mid 2017, when the buses themselves are not very much deployed in Hyderabad. I strike the conversation with one of the drivers of a regular bus. I landed from I was coming from the airport to my home at Hyderabad. Then I asked the driver out of curiosity, sir, I understood that electric buses are coming into the fleet very soon. How do you find about it? Let me tell you, the driver was so negative about electric buses. The minute I opened this topic, he started blasting me with so many questions. What electric buses are? What happens if the charging is gone midway? What happens if the vehicle stops? Who is making electric buses? Tata's, Mahindras. No, I can understand electric buses. Now I do not know which company and which player is making electric buses. So there is a lot of not only range anxiety but performance anxiety, reliable anxiety for those drivers who are using these products, right? I think that is the reason, instead of deploying, right, as XYZ or any possible way in the city, the government has taken a conscious call of identifying a route. Say, for example, from airport to a particular route, the range is clear. These buses kind of give around 250 to 350 kilometers per charge. The range is clear. So for a complete round trip, say it is around 300 to 200 kilometers or 250 kilometers, and then the path is clear. So the drivers will also be comfortable that yes, this bus will not get stuck anywhere. And this is as a pilot. The buses that are launched between airport and the rest of the cities is a pilot, right? Now this pilot, the government will look at the feasibility. I'm sure the buses which the operators who are operating these buses are not profitable yet, but then the government has taken a brave step saying that we will not let you suffer losses. We will kind of compensate, right, for those losses. Now, this pilot will give a message to different OEMs. This pilot will give a message to the actual stakeholders, that is, drivers who are driving it. The pilot will give a message to the consumers, passengers who are using it. The pilot will give a message to technicians and other stakeholders involved in it. Now, once these pilots get successful, that is where we see the buses, the regular buses numbers slowly coming down. For example, if you look at Delhi Metro last year released a purchase order for 1,000 electric buses for their last mile delivery. Have you ever imagined that why would Delhi Metro will place an order for electric buses? Because Delhi Metro is very clear that my throughout citywide connectivity is good, but from my station to the last mile of the person's home or the area, it is still again ruled by the auto wallahs, the taxi guys, etc. So Delhi Metro thought that let me take the complete thing. I will have my buses, I will have my vehicles who will pick up people from the last miles to my metro stations. I use my metro connectivity to move people from X place to Y place, and then from there I use my buses, right? Probably the same would be adopted by Hyderabad Metro also. Of course, they are right now working with different aggregators such as Bounce, etc., to place those vehicles at the stations. But very soon, the extension of the pilot for airports is the pilots could come for these last mile deliveries, right? So these are only pilots, and all the charging infrastructure, etc., are already present in the transport units. So, such example where it released an order for 1,000 electric buses for the movement of people. Yeah, please go on and post questions. Same like shuttle services in Hyderabad. True. Yeah. For example, yeah, shuttle is another right aggregator, right? It is running almost like a parallel road transport service. Now imagine Amazon is the biggest investor in shuttle. If only Amazon Jeff Bezos is already committed to increase their electric vehicle fleet in their own deliveries to up to 10,000 numbers in the next 3 years. If suppose it all takes one decision for Jeff Bezos to say that, hey, I will introduce electric buses in my shuttle services also, right? All these institutionals are possible, and that's it, the buses. But then, and of course the buses also have got the discounts up to 50 lakhs from the government. So I think it is a viable model going forward, if not now, in the passenger movement. Any other questions? Great. Great participation from all of you. Thank you very much for joining in this live. I hope the information that is shared, the content that is shared, is helpful to you. Generally, the same content I share in conferences, And these conferences charge anywhere between 10,000 to 12,000 rupees from each of the participants, right? That's not for free. But then I've made an attempt to share as much as possible my knowledge through this free platform. I hope you will make best use of it and keep writing to us, writing to me on the other topics that you want me to speak about. The next topic that I would like to, there are two, three things in mind. I would like to conduct an interview with Mr. Vijay Jaiswal, who was the earlier automotive director for the Telangana state government. Then probably with Gopika Pawar, who is the sustainability leader from IKEA, who is the person behind implementing the electric vehicles in IKEA, worked very closely with me. These are the two with respect to the electric vehicle market. Thirdly, I also want to speak on the art and techniques and the science of selling without actually selling it. I worked with Topper.com for about short stint, 8 months time, but I really enjoyed my journey there because I was able to improve the top line from 30 lakhs per month PNL to a 1.2 CR PNL in just 6 to 7 months time. And we were also able to raise a Series C funding with Hyderabad being one of the 1 crore city in the portfolio of Topper. And at one point of time, I was handling a direct sales team of to the tune of around 200 numbers. And this was all possible, right? This was all possible in the stint of 7 months. And if possible, in my next session, I would be speaking on the art and science of selling without actually selling it. How I kind of built a 1.2 CR PNL per month from a 30 lakh PNL in 6 to 7 months time, right? Watch out for it. And you also start writing and mentioning in the comments what you want me to speak on. I will definitely continue to speak. And let us use this lockdown time to hone our skills, to improve our knowledge, and to stay connected and be ready, right? Thank you very much. And this is Rajiv YSR signing off from the session 2 of electric vehicles, market opportunities and business opportunities, and the effect of COVID 19. Thank you very much. See you. Bye bye. Thank you, Abhilash. Thank you, Palash. Thank you very much.